Hello, and welcome back to Eastern Healing. So today we are going to be introducing Thai massage, and this week we're looking primarily at the history and theory, and next week we will look at the massage itself. So Thai massage is also known as Nuad Bo-Rarn, and I know that I am definitely pronouncing that incorrectly, because Thai is one of those languages where your inflection makes a difference as to the word. Like in English, if you lift up, that means it's a question. Tea? You know, would you like some tea? Tea? But in Thai, if you're going up or down or, making it short or elongated, it's not just the sounds that you make, it's how you make them. So I know for sure that I'm definitely pronouncing that incorrectly. The word itself is comprised of nuad, which is Thai, that is from the Thai language, and that means like to touch with the intention of imparting healing. So it's like healing touch, nuad. And Bo-Rarn, the second part, is actually from Sanskrit and the ancient language of India. And that one means something that is ancient and sacred. So you can see that they see Thai massage, like the traditional form of Thai massage, within that healing system as something that is very powerful, ancient, and revered. There are other aspects to that traditional healing method that include like nutrition and food cures. Like, for example, general nutrition is one thing, but if you've ever heard that if you're getting a urinary tract infection, you should eat cranberries or cranberry juice, that's a food cure, right? So nutrition and food cures, herbalism, but also meditational practices, yoga is in there, and it's all very worked into the Thai version of Buddhism. So reciting Buddhist sutras, basically it's sort of like praying for health, and then also having incantations said upon you. That whole enchilada, that whole shebang is all part of this Thai medicine, like this traditional form of medicine. And I really do mean it's their form of medicine. They would utilize this system to treat all types of ailments, from myofascial pain or orthopedic concerns, like a stiff shoulder or a bad back, to fertility issues, internal health issues, gastrointestinal issues, mental health issues. This is their form of medicine, is this whole system. And historically, so basically they did not see massage in the same way that we see massage in our culture. And even in the ways that Thai massage is coming into our culture is very much along the road that we accept massage to be in. But I'm just saying, like, traditionally in their culture, it's a form of medicine, like actual medicine. So there we go. The historical founder of Thai massage was named Jivaka Kumar Bhattacharya. Yeah, definitely didn't say that right either. Also known as the Father Doctor. And he's identified by scholars to be a personal associate of the historical Buddha. And he was seen as like the head physician of the original Sangha, which was the community of followers that was surrounding the historical Buddha. So that would place him as living in India at about 500 BCE, before the Common Era. give or take, so like 2,500 years ago. So since then, traditions of Buddhism have spread out, and they've integrated with indigenous cultures that surrounded them to have like different types of Buddhism. Like there's Tibetan Buddhism and Zen Buddhism and all of this stuff, right? So once it settled into the area that is modern day Thailand, which was then called Siam, it was influenced by the indigenous tribal practices that were already there. And that's Buddhism as well as Ayurveda health and healing practices. And it was also, like that area also had connections across the mountains into China. And so in this area, you have Buddhism, Ayurvedic healing practices, which are traditionally more linked to Hinduism. You have the indigenous tribal practices of the region, and you have a little bit of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, sprinkled in for good measure. And that kind of solidifies in this area, so that by the time about 1290s, 1292 is sometimes the date you see, when Theravada Buddhism was made the official religion of Siam, this form of traditional medicine was already well established, and it was administered primarily by the monks living in the Buddhist temples. Monks and nuns, are they called nuns? This is not an answer that I have. Maybe they're all called monks. The people living in monasteries, practicing Buddhism. These were the people administering this medical system. And they would also teach the principles to the lay person, but they were seen as almost like the doctor status. And the reason for that is that the practice of healing work was considered to be kind of like the practical application of the concept of metta, or loving kindness. In Thai Theravada Buddhism, there's this significant emphasis placed on practical application of spiritual philosophies. So what that means is that bringing higher ideals into your daily life and your decision making, like ideals like altruism and compassion, into the daily decisions that you are making, is considered to be super, super important in your quest to attain enlightenment, right? So if you're a monk and you've dedicated your life to the practice of Buddhism and attaining enlightenment, you're expected to spend like a significant part of your day practically in your actions applying these concepts. In particular, they're expected to show the 4 divine states of mind, and that's really getting into the religion. It's not necessarily super hooked into Thai massage, but I know you're going to ask about it in class, so I'm just going to tell you. The 4 divine states of mind are metta, right? Loving kindness. Compassion, which is really similar to metta, but it's like it's more like having empathy with others and their experiences and seeing things from their point of view, and like being able to feel their feelings in a loving way. Compassion, not just general loving kindness towards everything. So metta, the loving kindness. Compassion, vicarious joy, which means like I'm joyful because I see that you are joyful. Your joy brings me vicarious joy, right? And then mental equanimity, meaning like balance, mental balance. And that's this state that you achieve through specific meditative practices where your mind is like balanced and still agile, and you're in this meditative state, but you're still like connected to the world around you. You're not like visualizing a candle or something, you know, you're connected to the present moment. So there. So in a nutshell, Thai massage combines elements of yoga. So if you see it, it almost looks like assisted yoga. Elements of Ayurveda, elements of meditation. The practitioner is supposed to try to strive for that divine state of mind. You'll see elements of traditional Chinese medicine and acupressure. You'll also see some things that seem like they're coming out of left field, and those are the kind of throwbacks to that indigenous culture and practices that were already in the region when Ayurveda moved in, and Buddhism moved in. And yeah, it's kind of like it brings all of those things together. So next week, when we are talking about Thai massage and the practice of it, you're going to see a heavy serving of Ayurveda. And you're going to, like, we're going to be talking about yoga. We're going to be talking about doshas. And you'll see some things, you'll see some traditional Chinese medicine things in there. And I will say that some of the, like, we're going to be talking more about hands-on stuff a little bit more next week. So one of the things I will say is that when in Thai, where in India they see there to be 5 elements, earth, air, fire, water, and ether, the Thai region, it does not acknowledge the element of ether. So the dosha of Vata is just wind, right? That's seen as an element as well as its whole own dosha. And it's also like the basic function of the Vata force in our body is described almost identically to the way traditional Chinese medicine describes the function of qi in our body, in that it's the force that is seen to put things in motion and accomplish tasks in our body. It's like our energy and our ability to move. So you can kind of see it blending together in that way, in that you've got very clearly based on Ayurveda, they're talking about dosha being wind, but then there's this sprinkle of traditional Chinese medicine in there, in like the concept of Vata that they're describing is so similar to the concept of qi in traditional Chinese medicine. So there it is. Next week, we're going to look at hallmarks of the massage style itself and some contraindications and benefits and all that jazz. I want to keep this one short because I know we're at the end of the semester and you guys are swamped. So we are not even at 15 minutes, and I'm going to sign off and see you guys next time. There is a reading thing in your course shell, and I look forward to seeing your discussion comments. So see you guys and have a lovely week. Bye.